Okay, welcome to R2R. Am I audible and visible?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's start off with this R2R session. I know your last exam is on Monday, right? This is your last exam, right? Strategic Management and FM.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's first recap what is the format of your paper. We look at all the 5 chapters and then we end by discussing what you have to do just before your exam. So all of you all know that your paper is of 50 marks for strategic management. The first 15 marks is your multiple choice questions. Out of those 15 marks of 15 multiple choice questions, all are case studies. The first 10 mark is one big case study. They'll give you a big paragraph for a case study, and they might give you 5, 6, sometimes 7 questions, either 1 mark each or 2 marks each on the big cat on the big case study, and then the remaining 5 questions are one mark each, small case studies where you have to answer multiple choice A, B, C, D, right? So totally you'll have 6 case studies in section A. Out of those 6 case studies, the first case study is the big case study which carries 10 marks, and the remaining 5 questions are small case studies or which will carry 1 mark each. What will carry 1 mark each. Now, how do you deal with case studies which are multiple choice questions? Now, remember, the only two things which you have to keep in mind while dealing with a case study is one, read the question. Second, be careful about parts of that which will confuse you in the paragraph. So, read the question once, read the options, then go back to the case study of that point and just mark it, or then you can't mark it, but you can at least read that part and see which answer is most correlated to that. Now remember, why I'm telling you to do that is because this 10 marks can be very safe for you, and you have 1.5 hours for your strategic management, 1.5 hours for your financial management. 1.5 hours for your strategic management simply means that out of 50 marks you have around 1.5 minutes for each. I'm just giving a ballpark figure, around 1.5 minutes per mark. So 1.5 minutes, that makes 75 marks, but 15 minutes will keep grace here and there. So you easily have, for 10 marks, you should have easily 15 to 20 minutes for your case study. So don't rush through it. Read the question again, read the options. If the options are easy and you're quite sure, mark it off. But if you're not sure, read the question again, go back to the case study and read it again, and then mark your answer. Because sometimes the questions may not be easy. Sometimes they're pretty easy, sometimes they're not easy. So go through that. So the key to dealing with case study is the ability to comprehend and read the questions again and again. That is the first 15 marks. Now you know the remaining section B is 35 marks, out of which the first question is compulsory of 15 marks, usually 3 questions of 5 marks each. And then the remaining question 2, 3, 4, you have to answer any 2 of 10 marks each. That is 3, 3, 4 of maximum. I don't think so. They go more than 4 marks or 5 marks, correct or no? So they give 2 ABC, 3 ABC, 4 ABC. And in the last 4 ABC, they have an also OR question, which I've seen in the mock test paper. Now, before I discuss with the first question, which is compulsory, you can't do anything about that. The second, third, and fourth question, be careful to choose the one which you're comfortable with. So read the entire second question, third question, and fourth question. Now read the second question. Let's say all ABC you know. Third question ABC. Quickly go through 4 ABC. Where do you think you know the maximum? And in this second, third, and fourth also there will be small case scenarios, or there'll be case scenarios, and there'll be direct questions. If you're comfortable writing direct questions, what are the 3 competitive, what are the 5 force model of Michael Porter, or what are the advantages of strategic management? Choose those questions. Suppose 3 A, B, C, A and B are direct questions and C is a case scenario, and 2 A, B are case scenarios and C is a direct question, and you're not comfortable with the case study, you're not able to understand it, then go for the third question. Anyway, you'll have a choice of one, right? First question is anyway compulsory, so ABC, that will be 5 marks, correct? No? Now, I've already told you when you're writing your answers for the direct question, descriptive questions, it's an OBC format, opening, body, and conclusion. So if they're asking you what are the merits of what are the company without strategic management is like a ship without its rudder or radar. So you'll have to write the advantages. So first write what is strategic management, describe it, opening, then give the advantages, 5 or 6 advantages, and then give the conclusion. Or if they're asking you what are the stages in digital transformation from the last chapter, mention what is digital transformation, give the stages in digital transformation, give a conclusion. For the case study, I already told you the format CFC, the concept, explain the concept. So, for example, they say Arun and Vishwas are brothers running a pharmaceutical business. Arun is a very strict manager who motivates his employees by the carrot and stick principle, while Vishwas is a leader who takes his team along, motivates them through vision, mission. Explain the leadership styles exhibited by Arun and Vishwas. So now write down the two leadership styles, transactional leadership style and transformational leadership. What is transactional leader? What is transformational leader? Then that is the concept. Then give the facts. Arun and Vishwas are running the business like that. Arun is a transactional leader, Vishwas. And then give the conclusion. Transformational leader works in this scenario, transactional leader works in this scenario, and give the conclusion. So always follow the CFC, concept, facts and analysis, and conclusion. So we saw that even when we were doing the mock test paper and written test paper, for case-based questions which are descriptive, it is CFC. Concept, give the concept, whether it's Mendelow's matrix, whether it's BCG matrix, whether it's transformational transactional leadership, whether it is uh, uh, niche, what is that, focus strategy. Give the meaning first, concept, give the facts of the case in 1 or 2 lines with the analysis, and then give the conclusion. But then give the conclusion. Be careful in choosing those 10 marks, correct or no? Okay. Time your paper well, because sometimes they give you both the papers together. And sometimes you might get carried over for work, carried away in financial management. It's a practical paper. So you'll take 2 hours for that, and then you'll be left only 1 hour for that. At no cost, you have to leave out any question in your exam paper. That is harakiri. That is a guaranteed recipe for failing in this exam. No leaving out anything. Attempt the 15 marks MCQs is anyway easy. 35 marks, you're not going to leave out any answer. Understand? Attempt 3 questions, but attempt the whole paper, because when you're attempting the paper, you leave out a 4 mark question, or you leave out 7 marks or 8 marks. Your chances, see, out of 42 marks, now getting 25, 30 becomes difficult. Out of 50, getting 30, 35 becomes much easy. So please be very, very careful about the timing of your exam. Don't ever leave out anything. Understand? Time yourself, practice. Anyway, you all have been writing for a long time, so you won't have any writing cramps, but please write neatly and complete that. Okay, now this is the format of the paper. Now coming to the second part. There are 5 chapters in your syllabus. How many chapters?
5 chapters.
First chapter is Introduction to Strategic Management. What are the important concepts in Introduction to Strategic Management? First is, what is a strategy? Remember 3 Ds: direction, decision, direction, destination, and what the company does. So what the company wants to be, what it wants to do, where it wants to go. Correct or no? What is strategic management? Not only the direction, but also applying management. The analysis, planning, implementation, and control is strategic management. You learn the difference between strategy and strategic management in the first chapter. A very, very important part of the first chapter is strategic intent. Remember, we discussed VM, DM, Go, DM, VM, Go, business definition, business model, vision, mission, goals, objectives. Now, in this chapter, for the theory based questions and the case based questions, I told you to memorize 2 or 3 vision statements which can be applicable to any organization. Bhavna Pharmaceuticals, Bhavna Perfumeries is a company which is for the last 10 years believing in natural perfumeries. Draft a vision statement and mission statement. Mission is what you're doing. Bhavna Perfume believes in manufacturing non-toxic and non-chemical perfumes of the highest quality, which can serve every individual at the highest level. Vision is, Bhavna Perfumeries wants to become the leading manufacturer and producer of non-toxic and non-chemical perfumes all over the globe, giving its customer the best perfume experience or whatever. Memorize vision statements. They are given at the back of your chapter. Memorize at least 3 or 4 vision statements, 3 or 4 mission statements, and make a template of a vision statement which you can use for all, because they will ask you draft a vision statement, draft a mission statement. I've already told you goals and objectives, you'll all know. One more important part of the first chapter is that 3 types of strategies, the 3 levels of corporate strategy. What are they? Corporate level, business level, and
Functional.
functional. And for each of them, I want you to note down the roles and responsibilities of each of the managers. Role of a corporate level manager, role of a business level manager, role of a, it's not given directly, but at the back of your textbook, they've given you roles and responsibility of corporate level manager. Do the same thing for business. Shri Manjunath has joined a company as the CEO of the business. What are his roles and responsibilities at the corporate level? So write down all his roles and responsibilities. We don't have time to discuss that. Okay. So these are the most important aspects of chapter 1. Strategy, strategic management, advantages of strategic management, limitations of strategic management, strategic intent, vision, mission, goals, objectives, business definition, business model, corporate level strategy, financial business level strategy, and functional level strategy, roles and responsibilities of each of these. Okay. Look at chapter 2. Chapter 2 is external analysis. What it is called? External
Analysis.
In external analysis, we remember we did 2 important aspects. That is, the business environment consists of 2 parts: the internal environment and the external environment. What are the internal environment? What are the factors which affect the business within the organization? That you don't have to worry too much. But the external environment consists of 2 parts: the macro environment and the micro environment. The macro environment is what is outside the control of the business, which is not within the immediate periphery or vicinity of the organization, while micro environment is what is within the immediate vicinity and periphery. So if Kavana has a pharmaceutical shop in Banshankari, the nearby competitor pharmacy shop will be her micro environment. But the large pharma players who are coming out with new drugs, setting up their own retail businesses, Apollo Pharma and all, will be her macro environment. And I told you an easy way to remember the macro environment is an analysis which we did, which was called PESTLE analysis. What it was called? PESTLE. Remember PESTLE? Political, economic, social, technological, socio-cultural, technological, legal, and environmental. And I told you they have missed out one over here, demographic environment. Correct or no? Okay. So if you want to remember, some will ask what is PEST analysis. They'll ask you what is PESTLE analysis. So go through that external analysis very quickly. There are other aspects also in that chapter which were very, very important. What were the other aspects in the chapter which was very, very important? One was value chain analysis. Remember? Value, Michael Porter, primary activities, support activities. Yes. There was product life cycle. What there was product life? Remember that curve, S-shaped curve? There was experience curve. What there was experience?
Curve.
Curve. Besides that external analysis, you had the macro, micro, and all these environments. And I think so. You also had then Michael Porter's 5 force model. What you had the Michael Porter's 5 force model. Remember industry analysis? What it was? Industry. Remember the 5 forces? Bargaining
Yeah.
power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, and rivalry. What rivalry, right? So Michael Porter's 5 force model, they can ask you each one separately or they can ask you together. What they can ask you, right? So that was an important chapter, which was your external analysis. What it was your external analysis. Internal analysis is chapter 3. What it is chapter 3. What does the company do within the organization? How does it do internal analysis? Internal analysis, the most important part of the internal analysis chapter is that Mendelow's stakeholder matrix. Remember power, interest, high power, high interest, key players, low power, high interest, correct? Keep informed, correct? High power, low interest, keep satisfied. Have you remember those? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you remember the Mendelow's stakeholders, they can ask you a question, draw Mendelow's matrix, and they'll give you four players. Mr. Roshan is the CEO of the company. Mrs. Uh, Messrs. Canara Bank is a lender to the organization. So and so construct a Mendelow's matrix, and you'll have to draw the Mendelow's internal analysis. So Mendelow's stakeholders in the same chapter, there are two or three other things. One is product analysis. What is a product? What are the key features of a product? There is market analysis, correct? In the internal analysis. And the most important thing in this chapter is they've given you the Michael Porter's three strategies. What there are three?
Strategies.
What were the three strategies? If you remember, cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. What? And focus. And I told you there's also a fourth strategy which is called
Focus.
Best cost provider.
best cost provider. Very good. Okay, so you have to go through all those four strategies, go through the internal analysis. There are some other aspects also of the chapter which I've skipped, but a very, very important chapter, especially with the stakeholders and whether all those aspects which you have to do in that internal analysis product. What is that? KSF, key success factors, correct or no? Then there are strategic drivers. What are the strategic drivers? All those aspects, please cover. Don't leave out anything. One more advice. Unless it has come in the previous exam, that is in your May paper, leave those off. Other than what has come in the May paper, everything you can. Usually January and May is safe. You can leave out those, whatever has come in the last two exams. But other than that, don't leave out. But even if it's come in the May and January paper, just go through it, correct or no? But generally, they don't repeat questions, or they don't repeat. At least in the past 3 years from when they've started it, whatever's come in the previous paper, they generally omit it off. So you'll be well advised to leave it. But if you don't have the time, you please do that. Chapter 4 was a very important chapter. So first chapter was Introduction to Strategic Management. Chapter 2 was External Analysis. Chapter 3 was Internal Analysis. Chapter 4 was Strategic Choices. What it was strategic? Just 1 minute. Okay. What are strategic choices? Strategic choices are basically, I'll do the second part of the chapter first, and then we'll come back to the first part of the chapter. In the strategic choices, we did very important matrices, if you remember. BCG matrix, remember? Market growth rate, market share, low market growth rate, dog, high market share, high growth rate, star, cash cow, question marks, remember? We also did a variation of the BCG matrix, which is called the G stoplight matrix. Remember? McKinsey G stoplight matrix, correct or no? Where market growth rate is replaced by market attractiveness, correct or no? Market share is replaced by business strength. You have a high, medium, low, then you have the green, orange, and red, right? Another important matrix which we did was the ADL matrix. What we did, the ADL matrix, that R30 little. I told you it's very big. You can't remember all of them, but it's okay. It's a 20 thing matrix. And then there was one more very, very important matrix, which they keep giving, which is called the Igor Onsa product matrix. Existing product, existing market, it is called market penetration. New product, new market, it is called diversification. Existing product, new market, it is called as market development. Remember? So all those matrices are very, very important. One of them will come. Besides that, this fourth chapter also had a very important first part, which I call grand strategies or directional strategies. What are they called? Grand strategies or directional? What are the grand strategies or directional? Expansion strategy, retrenchment strategy, stability strategies, and combination. In expansion, again, we did, remember, we drew the chart, correct?
Yes, sir.
Internal expansion, external expansion is through joint ventures, alliances, mergers. Internal is through intensification and diversification. Under intensification, you have market penetration, market development, product development. Under diversification, you have conglomerate diversification and concentric or related diversification. And related diversification, again, you have vertical integration and Horizontal integration, vertical has forward and
Backward integration.
Backward.
so that entire expansion strategies are very, very important. They will ask you questions on what is forward integration, backward integration. And even in that same thing, we did stability strategies. What are the merits of stability strategy? When does a company follow stability strategies? What is retrenchment? In retrenchment, we did three types of strategy: turnaround strategy, divestment strategy, and liquidation strategy. So the strategic choices chapter is a very important chapter because it has a lot of matrices and everything. Now, the last chapter I told you is the longest chapter, which is 75 pages. So it's actually two chapters combined into one. What is it? Strategic implementation and control. What is it? Strategic implementation and control. Remember it? Yes or no, guys? Now, why is this chapter important is because there are two or three things. One, it's a very long chapter. So out of your 50 marks, I don't know. They say in the thing that they give equal marks, but we always see the chapter 5 gets at least 15 marks out of that. The remaining four chapters share around 35 marks. Correct? At least 10 to 12 marks come from this chapter. Now, in this chapter, it begins with the entire strategic management process. So, an overview of whatever you've learned, the entire strategic management process, the entire strategic management model is done in this chapter. There are so many concepts in this chapter, I can't even point out which is important, which is not. Then we did the structure. Remember what comes first? Strategy, structure. Always strategy comes first, then structure. Remember Chandler? Remember Chandler? We did that flowchart. And then we did the different types of organization structure: simple organization structure, functional, divisional, multi-divisional, SBU, hourglass, network organization structure, matrix organizational structure. Now, all of them have their own merits and demerits. If you concentrate a little bit, you'll get a pattern of what are the merits and demerits of each of them. But they generally give you one structure, either of these 6 or 7 structures, remember? And in this chapter, we also did the types of leadership: transformational leadership, transactional leadership, role of a leader. We did organizational culture, corporate culture. How do you change a problem culture? Kurt Levin's change management model. Remember change management? What are the steps in change management? How do you change corporate culture? We did digital transformation. We digital steps in digital transformation. And there was one that model, which was that McKinsey 7S model. What was it? McKinsey?
Seven.
Remember hard elements and soft elements?
Yes, sir.
So please go through that. McKinsey 7S model is also a very favorite of the people. Then we had strategic control. In that same chapter, what are the different types of control? Remember premise control, strategic surveillance, correct? Special alert controls, different types of strategic control. So there are so many aspects to this chapter. So don't ignore this chapter because it carries a lot of marks. So in a nutshell, these are the 5 chapters. I've given you just an overview. But the most important thing is, remember this last exam can get a little fatigue because you'll have already done, how many 5 papers are done, right?
Yes, sir.
And generally there is a tendency that the energy levels drop because you've written so many exams. And plus, please don't let that happen. This is your slog over. Remember in the T20 match, last 1 or 2 overs, you need to score 15-20 runs of the last over. Get those 15-20 runs and clear off your group 1 and group 2 together, right? This is your chance because strategic management is really easy. It's one theory paper which is very, very easy. You don't have to remember so many things. It's more of common sense. It's not like auditing where you have to remember hundreds of standards. It's not like law where you have to remember so many sections. It's a very, very easy to score paper if you apply your mind and if you follow what I've told you, right? So put in your effort at the last moment, but put in your effort without taking pressure on yourself, but without taking,
Pressure.
because sometimes when you are acting under pressure, you act very irrationally. What you act very, when your heart is pumping, you're feeling very tense, And any decision, you might choose the wrong question, you might not take the right answer. So any decisions are taken in the scale of uncertainty, when you're not sure, whenever you're in the sway of emotions, you're feeling a little panicky, you don't know this answer, just relax. Remember, I told you that story, that lady went with her daughter to a mall, and there was this 5-year-old daughter. She saw a teddy bear on the window, and she started saying, "Mommy, I want this teddy bear, mommy." She started screaming, shouting. And that lady just stood next to her and said, "Relax, Sunita, relax. Relax, Sunita, relax." There was a man who was passing by. He told, "Madam, you're so patient with your daughter. If I had a daughter like this, I would have slapped her and taken her home. Your daughter, Sunita, so lucky to have you." That lady smiled and said, "Who told my daughter's name is Sunita? My name is Sunita. I'm telling myself to relax." So all of you all just relax. I know it may be tense, it's the last thing. Just go before the paper, say a prayer to whomever you worship, whomever you think as a higher power. Close your eyes, pray a little, let him give you strength to write the paper, and then relax. Whenever you're feeling a little tense, leave your pen, don't write, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and see your anxiety level like a thermometer coming down. Within 2 seconds, you'll find it more now settling. And do they allow you to take water in your exam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So both air and water are natural stress relievers. Remember that. So whenever you are feeling a little stressed, whether it's an FM sum which you're not getting, then you're thinking that you've not done it right, calm down, take a deep breath, and if you're allowed to take water, take small sips of water. Correct or no? Don't drink too much, then you'll want to go to susu and all that. Understand? Take small sips of water, because both air and water will relieve your stress. So relax, do well, and you will meet all your teachers other than me in CA final. What in CA? Final. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.